Welcome back to the next film. Today I have... Oh, wait, nope. How do you pronounce your last name?
Deveney.
Deveney,
yeah.
What did you think it was?
Deveney. I don't know. I probably was...
No, it's a tough one.
Yeah,
it's a tough name.
We're used to it. I don't know where I was going to go with it.
Deveney.
I think every single time I've started, I stop because I'm like, wait, there's something I don't know how to pronounce. Doesn't matter whose name goes first. Do you guys fight about it?
Just do whatever comes.
Okay.
Thing one, thing two, sorry.
All right. Welcome back to the next film. Today I am with the host of the Raiders of the Lost podcast, James and Anthony Deveney.
Deveney. We just talked about this.
She was in her head about it. She was in her head about it.
I knew it. Well, as soon as I said James and Anthony, I was like, it's going to show that James is my favorite name. So I was like,
most common name
I
in
didn't
America.
mean to choose it first, but Deveney.
There you go. She nailed it.
That's it. James is your favorite name for real?
Yeah.
It's a good name.
Yeah, it's a nice name.
Her favorite host of Raiders of the Lost podcast, too.
Would you name a son James if you had a son?
I haven't thought about that. We're not, I don't know if there is no son, there is no future.
You haven't even got married yet.
Yeah.
Let's take it slow.
Pump the brakes, Anthony.
I would name my dog James.
There we go. I'll take the dog name.
That's a great name for a pet. I love the normal names for pets.
Yeah, I guess we're going to have to, we'll see if I edit out whether or not I
Keep it
get
in.
your name right. I'm so sorry.
It's fun.
Okay, so you guys have had, you said almost like 1,200 or over 1,200
Yeah, we're
episodes?
about, I'd say 1,200 episodes in our podcast. We started in 2020 during lockdown, and then just right from the get-go, we were doing multiple a week, and we've kept that momentum. And there's never been a week where there hasn't been at least 3 episodes of our show.
For a while now, yeah.
That's crazy.
June 2020, the anniversary for 6 years is coming up.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Aw. Wow. Well, welcome to my 9th episode.
Hey, honored to be here.
Well, yeah, we saw you on social media and followed each other, and your stuff gets great engagement, and I love the guests you have on, and I love the film-centric tone, and I saw you had a guy from Kodak on, so I was like, this is great. Yeah, he's awesome.
We actually, next week, we have someone who just won like the Vision, not just one, it was like 2 years ago, but the... I'll have to look it up later, but he won an award from Kodak.
That's great.
Something Vision.
Yeah, we went to their
Visionary.
Kodak Awards, and it was an amazing night. It's one of my favorite things we've done. It's a very private, just a very exclusive little event with, I would say, maybe 80 to 100 people, and we were just in the Kodak building, which isn't that large.
No, it was the ASC
building,
clubhouse.
sorry,
Kodak's house in Hollywood's like this small little house.
Yeah, it's even
This
smaller.
is the ASC clubhouse, which is different than the cinematography union because there's like, if you're a cinematographer and you want to be in the ASC, you have to pay another fee on top of being in the local 600 or local 800, whatever the cinematography union is. But the ASC clubhouse, it's like $40K a year to be in that club as well. So it's like, it's an amazing facility.
Yeah,
though.
but it was a wild night. Like Christopher Nolan presented an award.
No big.
The David Keeley Award. Kristen Stewart was there. It was
I heard she won, which is really cool.
Her film's really cool. Her film's interesting. I saw it at the AFI Fest. It was an interesting movie.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah.
I am shooting my next film on 16 millimeter.
Cool.
So he's like my film mentor.
That's great.
So I think we followed each other first.
Yeah.
Because this is Anthony and this is James.
Yeah. She followed James second.
But I'm still her favorite host.
I never said that. I just said my favorite name. But we'll decide after this podcast who's my favorite. But,
You have to choose. There can be only one.
but yeah, so you guys are making your first feature. So that's why I was like, well, that's what my podcast is about. So let's collab. Let's do it.
Yeah, we've made a few short films over the years.
Yeah.
And after we started the podcast, we got that thing up and running, self-sustaining, supporting ourselves, and being your own boss gives you a lot of flexibility with your time, with your schedule management. And we've made 3 shorts in the past 2.5 years, all well received, all great experiences, and just pushing ourselves further and harder.
Online?
Yeah,
They're all online.
Okay.
Yeah, all on YouTube.
I was going to say the stills looked really great.
Thanks.
Oh, thanks.
Like the one with it was like the blue sky with the blood.
Probably one click. Probably.
Yes.
Yeah, with the blood.
Well,
yeah.
we have 3. There are 3 very different genres too. So the
Cool.
first 2 are Anthony's written and directed films, and
Okay.
one was sort of a mystery thriller, and then the other one that he did was a drama, and then I did an action thriller horror that I directed.
Okay, so
And
I'm
we're
going to go home and
bouncing
watch
around.
them all, and then
please.
whoever's watching this is going to go, I'll link them in the show notes. And
They're
they'll go
called
watch
Midnight
them.
Ruin,
Okay.
The Mother, and One Click with a K. That's One Click with a K.
Got it. And so you wrote and directed the first 2?
First
you
2,
said?
yeah.
And then you did the last one, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
How do you decide who gets to, or like
It's
have a
whoever's
slate?
story.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. That makes
Honestly,
sense.
And
Yeah.
so the one that we're doing right now, Dear Sandman, which is in development, Anthony wrote, and he's writing and directing that, and I'm producing it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. And do you have like a favorite thing, or you just love filmmaking all around?
Love all filmmaking, but I love horror, and I love old horror and gothic horror. And then I've always wanted to make a gothic horror film, but I could never find the right story. And then my girlfriend actually sent me this short film because we were just joking about the Sandman, which the nursery rhyme,
Mr. Sandman,
that song.
Oh.
And
That's a nursery
we were
rhyme?
just talking randomly.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Nursery rhymes are generally about
Yeah.
messed up subjects, ironically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's we grew up with the Sandman as like this like nice benevolent being that like sprinkles sand in kids' eyes and helps them fall asleep. But
not know that.
Magic dust.
yeah, magic
God,
dust. There's even he's in one of the, like the Pixar movies or something. The one with all the little spiritual beings. There's a Sandman in there, and but she started singing that song that was from like the 50s. And then she's like, "Have you ever seen that short film?" I was like, "No, what is it?" So she sent me this stop motion short about this really dark version of the Sandman character, which is this malevolent being that takes the eyes from children, and it's like this super grim, dark, like Burton-esque stop motion short film that was brilliant. And I watched it, and I was like, "This is amazing. This is what is the story?" And then it's actually based on a novella from the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
By E.T.A. Hoffman. I read that, and I was like, "There's a cool movie here that fits into a lot of the things that I've been poking around in my head of things I want to do, but just haven't been able to figure out a story for it." And so I put in a bunch of these elements that I had just tinkering around, and I have a Google Docs with just like hundreds of ideas, and so I fashioned it, and I was like, "This is a good place to structure a good story to structure these ideas around," and so that just got the ball rolling from there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, you adapted it then? Like
It's going to be an adaptation of the novel, yeah.
Okay, but if it's from the 1800s, is there legal stuff?
No,
with
it's
that?
not.
No, it's after. So after the death of the author or creator of the work, and then you add 70 years. That's the rules in America for public domain.
Okay.
Batman will be public domain in like 10 years.
Kind of, because Warner Brothers is still gonna.
Yeah.
Or
I
whatever,
was gonna
Paramount,
say,
Warner
like, I
Brothers
feel
is-
like there's still,
they'll
like,
still own
tricky
the screen
things.
rights and the TV rights. So
Yeah.
like, you won't be able to do much with Batman. It'll technically be public domain, but you won't be able to make a movie about Batman.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm always like weary when people have like certain like things, because I think there was like a fake rule about like, oh, if you only play a song for like 10 seconds, you don't have to get the
It
rights.
depends. It depends.
But then I was
It's
told that's
iffy.
not
It's like
true.
film and TV so different. Like for example, that you definitely probably can't do in film and TV.
I was told not to.
But you can
for
do
legal
stuff
advice,
like you
but-
can wear a band. You can wear like a Megadeth T-shirt.
Yeah.
So long as you're not like giving Megadeth the opinion of something that's happening in the film. You know.
I was given that advice, yeah.
Yeah.
Although I think it's still technically a risk, right?
And
But like,
it could be.
But also
Yeah,
depends
yeah.
on like how you use it. If you use it diegetically, like you hear it on the car radio for like 5 seconds, it won't cost as much as actually like playing the song during a montage. Like there's different things that lie into what exactly this costs to use this piece of music in whatever way you decide as a filmmaker.
Well, I ended up doing the music licensing on my first feature, and I did not listen to the advice where they're like, "Oh, don't put that much like original songs," and I put like 17. So it was a lot. So I learned,
she bought Hey Jude.
Oh well, I did try to do Death Cab for Cutie when it came to distribution, and it just like I think they answered me like a year later, and I was
my
like,
God.
"Thanks for getting back to me."
The movie's done.
The movie's out, so thanks, but no thanks. Okay, so the short story, and then do you have to adapt the short film? I'm just always curious about like the actual logistics of things.
What we did was we were tinkering with our team with the idea of I was interested in making another short film, but then it was just going to cost too much, and James and our team put the money together. It was just going to cost like $80K to do the short.
Yeah.
And we've done 3 shorts, and I was like, I don't know. And then we were all just collectively like, why don't we just make it a movie?
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's a great idea.
It's a quick meeting.
It was like a 20-minute meeting right before
meeting.
Thanksgiving.
I was like, Anthony, we can either spend $85,000 on a short, or we can try to fundraise something close to that for a feature.
Yeah, and we're ready. Like, we're ready to make a movie.
Yes.
We've been dying to do this forever, and it's just like, COVID made things so difficult, and we put our business, we got the business up and running, so now we're in a safe spot, and we both feel like we're ready to make the next step to do this. So why not try to make it a feature? And so what we did instead of a short film is we made a sizzle, a proof of concept trailer for the film, which is in post right now. And so we're gonna put that together with our pitch deck and and start pitching it out at the end of this month, as well as making a big fundraising campaign for a Kickstarter.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of my questions is like, why now?
That's why we're here. You know, that's why Anthony and I are in LA to pursue filmmaking. The podcast just kind of happened during lockdown. We were both working in production. And then lockdown happens and we had the time and we saw a trend in content boom with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Video content was on the rise. It was prevalent, but I think a lot of people didn't realize how big it was going to be.
Yeah.
And we saw, it's like looking at the stock market. You see it's about to hit.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is an opportunity. I was already playing around with social media stuff anyways and videos. And there's an opportunity to build something for real, like build a business, build some. We talked about film all the time, anyways.
Yeah.
Let's turn a camera on, turn a mic on, and start recording it.
Yeah, that's where mine came from.
And then like the twin thing is part of it as well, and the charisma we have, and the we have great chemistry on camera, and it's a lot of fun, and people really connect with that. We always want to make people feel like they're just in the room with us, like chatting about movies. And so it was sort of a no-brainer at first, but it just took a while to take off. But once it took off, it's just like life-changing.
I love that.
And so now that that's, like Andy said, sorted, it's kind of running itself. It's still a lot of work.
We still run it, but it's like
it's
a well-oiled
it's
machine.
paying the bills every single month. We're safe, we're good. So now it's like, all right, now let's get back into why we're really here. Our love for film stems from wanting to make movies.
Yeah, I love that. I just want to like sidebar for a second because y'all, I mean, you have great ratings and it seems like, you're like your fans love you.
Thank you.
I also love that you love movies. I just want to mention that because like there's just too much bashing movies. Like I feel like Letterboxd has kind of become, I don't know. Like,
we get bashed for not bashing enough.
I mean, really?
which is ironic.
No, like
that sucks.
Yeah.
No, I think more people should be loving movies.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you get.
I get why Letterboxd is so popular. I think it's a great app. If I was a kid growing up with apps, I wish that would have been around. I would have found so many more movies, connect with so many more people.
Definitely.
But there is, I think, in my opinion, a bit of a con to constantly quantifying movies with a number as soon as you see it and not letting it sit. I saw The Shining 20 times in my life before I got a Letterboxd account. It's like, I don't know what to give it a number for. And like objectively, if this is a 5, how can this possibly be a 4? And I don't know. So it's like, I don't rate anymore. I log, but I don't rate. Because I don't like to just I like to sit with the movie. I like to enjoy it.
Yeah,
how do I feel about this?
The movies we loved growing up, there was no rating on them, and we just watched them because either people said, "Oh, this is great," or we would go to a friend's house and we watched bad movies. Well, not even bad movies, but what would be called bad movies, or like a 2.5 or a 3. We would watch them endlessly just because we enjoyed the films because we weren't thinking about this competition mindset that we have nowadays of everything gets a number and how does it compare to everything else. We'll see a movie. Like after I saw One Battle, I got a bunch of DMs. How is it compared to There Will Be Blood? Which is better? And I'm like, I just saw this thing.
Also, they're both great.
Yeah,
it doesn't. You don't have to compare. And also, I feel like people are thinking about the funniest thing to say, which is it's fun to be funny, but
the sarcastic quip has become what Letterboxd is.
Yeah, that's
but
like
I
what's
love
that's
Letterboxd though. Great way for people to discover film. It's an incredible app.
I agree.
But I don't. That's why I don't rate it anymore.
Just kind of.
That was the thing is TikTok. They didn't know what TikTok was going to be. The people made TikTok what it is, and same thing with Letterboxd. It's a great platform, but then the people are making it what it is.
Yeah. I don't. If I feel like it would be less than 4, I just don't say. I'm only there to appreciate and love movies. 5 stars for everything.
I love that.
It was great. Everything's great. But yeah, so I love that. So you're getting back into why you came here because you're not from LA, are you?
From Boston.
From Boston, okay.
Boston,
East
Massachusetts,
Coast.
East Coast boys, yeah.
Yeah, I was in New York for a while, but I'm from Ohio.
I love New York. We were just there for a job a couple of weeks ago. It was such a fun time.
Yeah, New York was fun to come of age in because I moved there when I was young, but I don't miss it.
So the movie you made was just the nostalgia for where you grew up?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, it was kind of I feel like my version of Lady Bird in a way, kind of looking back and seeing it through a different lens.
That's great.
The escaping Ohio part is a little ironic, although I don't want to go back, especially right now with the weather.
It's nice here.
Yeah, I like 80-degree weather all the time. But yeah, so did you study filmmaking or you just grew up loving films?
A bit. So I went to college and I didn't know what I wanted to do yet. And by the time I was a sophomore, Anthony really influenced me in terms of wanting to pursue filmmaking because he was taking courses in film classes here and there. And so like I was go home on my breaks and weekends and help him out with his projects if I was around, and I really got into it. And so I was helping Anthony with his projects. And then by the time I was like a sophomore, I was like, that's what I want to do. So I took whatever the school I was at had in terms of film classes.
He became a celebrity at his school. They had a banner.
I had a banner.
Holding a camera.
Westfield State University. Someday I'll give a commencement speech.
Hey,
host of Raiders of the Lost podcast. Everyone's gonna be like, who?
Someone I forget who it was actually. I'll come back to it. But there was someone who like that. They set out to have a commencement speech, like be successful and have a speech at their place, and
that was their goal.
They just recently did that.
It's a fun goal. That's cool.
God, I wish I remember who it was.
Now what do I do?
But yeah, that's like a real goal.
So my school, it wasn't a film school, it was just a general university that had like a great med school program, but I wasn't in nursing school or med school. So I took like whatever film classes they had, but they had a TV studio program, so I did all the TV studio courses I could and got basically a degree. They didn't have a film or TV degree, but I had like a media arts degree that was focused on media.
Cool. Yeah, and then, I mean, you guys literally know like every single movie. I feel like you're like a movie library.
Film school is great, but there's no right or wrong way. Like so many great filmmakers never went to film school. Christopher Nolan didn't go to film school. So like the best way to learn about film is to watch and study, increase your palate, as well as and watch the greats, all the legends, and then make films. That's the best way to learn.
100%. Who's your favorite director?
Of all time?
Scorsese. Yeah. Scorsese's my guy.
I mean, I know you can have you can say two if you want, but like. It's a tough thing. Name one.
And I just watched the Martin Scorsese documentary series on Apple, which is you got to watch. It's great, and he's always been my favorite because we grew up thinking I grew up thinking just the mindset. Oh, he's the gangster director. Like that's how people talked about him before like the last 10 years. But then I started watching his films like Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, and After Hours, and things like that. Age of Innocence. And I was like, this guy is just unbelievable. There's no filmmaker that has so much range and also so much visual artistry that's all driven by story and narrative and character.
Yeah.
So I think he's the greatest filmmaker of all time.
Taxi Driver is a big inspiration for my next film.
Good. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'd probably go Spielberg, honestly, with my gut, because, I've seen so many of his movies, and when you're Deep Tracks or Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, it just shows how good of a filmmaker you are.
Munich.
Those would be all-time great in careers. That would be like an average director's best work. Would be his tracks that people don't even talk about anymore very often.
Or I heard that he doesn't like Hook, and I'm like, that was like one of my favorite
A lot of people
movies.
love Hook.
Oh my God, I love Hook. I think
Hook.
it's great.
Yeah.
Hook's, every one of his movies is great.
Yeah.
And he bounced around genres, but I think with him, what he did with the blockbuster by really creating the blockbuster with Jaws, the first summer blockbuster, and then just showing the magic of cinema and filmmaking with his blocking, with his stories. There's no one that's had a bigger impact on culture. I was just at Universal yesterday. There's a parking lot named after E.T. There's a parking lot named after Jurassic Park. There's a parking lot named after this. So like his effect on our world, not just film, but culture in general, pop culture specifically, is immense. He's so important in filmmaking, but he's also earned it.
Did you park in the Frank Abagnale Jr. parking lot?
Catch Me If You Can reference.
That's Leo's character name. Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, got it.
No, I did not. But no, I just love him so much.
Yeah, I mean that's fair, and that's a good reason. Mine's gonna be Linklater.
He's great.
Great pick.
Yeah,
he's one of my faves.
School of Rock was the movie that got me into filmmaking,
and then
I like
before trilogy.
Well, yes. I mean, I came to Linklater back because I didn't grow up like thinking I would be a filmmaker in Ohio. Like it was like, okay, I'm good at math or science, so I guess I'll do something like that. And then I eventually found my way back and through like dance and then acting and then back to films. And then like Linklater, I just like so connected to, not just like through his films, which I very much do, but also just like how he talks about films, how he thinks about it. He's also a Leo. Like I feel like he's kind of like a father figure in a way from afar. But yeah, so it's just crazy though that like School of Rock was like the reason I got into films. Like I literally wrote the script for School of Rock 2 and then a cover letter to him. Like I think I like Googled his like address or something, and it was like some P.O. box thing. It got sent back and I ripped it up because I was really embarrassed. But in the cover letter, I like also cast myself in the film, which is like something I do now. And it's just funny that like he was kind of like the start and then has like come back.
What's interesting about Linklater is he's such a student of cinema and of the greats, and I mean, his film comes from the French New Wave, and I saw this interview where he was talking about students he had because he teaches here and there, and he was talking about he invited his students to a screening of a film, like it was like a double feature of 2 very obscure niche films, and none of them came. And then he went into class the next day. He was basically like, why didn't any of you come? They're like, oh, I had this and I didn't really feel like going and we were busy. He's like, if you're not fucking living and breathing this, you're not gonna make it.
Yeah,
you can't. Like,
I've heard that story.
Yeah, you gotta actually be immerse yourself in it, and not just go every once in a while. Like you have to love movies if you want to find success.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of like my film history has come from listening to Linklater talk about film history. Yeah, there's like a whole like hour and a half of him breaking down like a few different films, like Raging Bull and some other things, and like that was just like. I was just eating popcorn watching that, listening to him.
Very smart. Yeah. Very smart guy.
Yeah. So do you feel like having the podcast kind of like corrupts your filmmaking now? Or do you think like, does it help or hinder? I don't like, do you think sometimes knowing too much about the industry, because you also do movie news, not just about movies, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like sometimes that hinders anything, like knowing too much?
No. I think what it does is
it mostly helps.
It keeps us aware of what kinds of movies are constantly being made. You know, not necessarily like it's a weird time where a lot of studios, I guess it's always been like that. They make the movies they think audiences want, or it's interesting to always study what is getting greenlit, what funding is going to, whether it's a blockbuster or whether it's a studio making a bunch of independents. So I think it always keeps us aware of what's in the zeitgeist before it even comes out, which I think is a strength. But then also we get to see, because we always cover box office every week and ratings and stuff like that, we get to understand what movies are performing despite getting a big budget. So I think we're always in the know.
Yeah.
I think about what's going on for getting projects getting greenlit, projects coming out. And I think it puts us in a good position. Also, the podcast has increased my knowledge of film so much.
Yeah.
I've always loved cinema and film, and Anthony and I have been obsessed for years, but the amount I've learned the last 6 years just from analyzing film
100%,
and being more aware of intention of filmmakers and even just production designers and art directors and what the screenplay is doing of great films, and analyzing like lesser quality films too, but that's made me more aware of how to be a better filmmaker and storyteller too.
Definitely. I mean, I think that like I was kind of already assuming like that's an obvious, there's obvious like positives things of doing that and like studying and analyzing, and also like having to watch so many films is really helpful. At least that has been just like doing this for a couple months is like already studying filmmakers and films and stuff like that. But in terms of like making the film, especially going from my first to my second feature, I felt like it was like kind of harder to turn off that little critic that you're now aware of, because like you're paying attention to box offices and what audiences are saying and like all these things. And it's like when we're making films that we shouldn't be thinking about that, right?
Yeah,
so it's like
not,
how do you turn that off so that way you're not outcome driven because of like knowing box office or what's getting greenlit and stuff like that. And it's like shut that thing up and just focus on what's coming through you and this making it something good that you want to make. And so it's I think there's like a ton of like good things, but also it's like how do you shut that like inner thing up that knows too much?
The thing is like you want to know as much about the art form in the medium as you can, but at the same time not care about it. About how it's you don't want to make a movie. You don't want to make a movie worried about how it's going to be perceived. Because worrying is an extension. It's a fear-based emotion, and you never want to do anything through fear.
Right.
So it's important when whatever you're doing, whatever kind of craft or art form, never use fear as a baseline, but use excitement in your love for it. And if you're passionate about it, it doesn't matter what anyone thinks or what could happen. Just focus on what will happen and the positives that could happen, and just avoid the fear-based emotions that everybody deals with for sure.
Yeah. So going to your proof of concept, was that just something that you felt like was going to be a thing to help you make the feature, or did someone give you that advice?
It's more of that, of like showing what can be done with our production skills, as well as giving a visual to investors to see the potential of the project, because every representative of talent out there probably gets 10 scripts a week and 10 pitch decks a week, and they get project after project after project, and a lot of times it's just a partial script, maybe a full script, but also a pitch deck and some maybe pieces of them and put together, but to give them a video visual of what the film could be, so they can be like, oh, this is really interesting to help then get those pieces together. That's one of the main reasons why we did it.
Nice.
Just itching to make something again,
Yeah.
to get back on
Yes.
set. And I had a little money. I was like, I can throw some cash at this.
Raiders had a good 2025.
Yeah, we had a good 2025. The TikTok money. But also, I saw this film, The Testament of Ann Lee, at the AFI Film Fest, and they did a Q&A with the filmmakers after, and they talked about how they struggled for years to get funding for it because they had a certain vision. They wanted to shoot it on film. It's a very out there kind of story, and nobody would greenlight it, so they decided, why don't we just spend 2 days and film a proof of concept?
Nice.
But the approach they took was they filmed the proof of concept as if it was making the movie. So they hired the same crew that they wanted for the movie. They shot it on film, and they didn't just try to make something and whip it together. They were like, they tried to make it as they would make the movie. And so it was like, let's try to do what they did and emulate them. So we made this not just like to make it as like a fun thing, but to be like, this is what the movie will look like. Because, especially because a lot of the department heads are going to be on the feature, especially like most notably our DP,
I love that,
who will have translate the same vision in cinematography and lighting from the sizzle reel. So, and also the prosthetic work for the creature design is on board for the feature. So to be able to show people like the team that wants to make this movie made this. It's not just James and I hired a bunch of people to make something. Like this is the team that made this.
Yeah, that's so smart. It's not just like, oh, this is kind of like the vibe. It's like, no, this is the exact team who's going to make it.
Exactly.
So this is what you're investing in. Yeah, that's really smart.
Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool. He made a short. So he's trying to get a greenlit for years. He was in the very mediocre X-Men movie where he played a really weird version of that character. And then he was basically like, fuck it. And he made his own Deadpool 10-minute short. I think, did Tim Miller work on it?
Tim Miller made it with him.
Yeah, and then they made Deadpool. So they made this great short. It's awesome. It's so fun. Rated R, like 10-minute sequence. It's basically an action sequence, but it's the exact tone, the exact character, the exact dialogue, the jokes. And then they got a budget to make Deadpool, and the second one became the highest grossing rated R movie for like a few years.
It's because no studio wanted to do it.
And they didn't understand. So that's why it's good to give a visual, because investors, they can see the pitch deck, like I said, but everyone's got a similar looking pitch deck. But give them something that they, not everyone has the creative mindset of like, this is what I want. Like the director and the producers are picturing in their head, but not every investor can.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say, so I accidentally had proof of concepts for both my features, but not necessarily like purposefully. Like both shorts that I made ended up, I wanted to make the feature. And the short, that came in huge handy because it was the same crew that we were getting together from the short to the feature. But this last one that I just did, which was like a 3-minute short, which I truly did not think was going to turn into a feature because it's so short. I ended up wanting to make the feature. And I do think it's a little difficult that I didn't go into that with that mindset, because it is a different crew. It's a different visual language of the style that I have for the feature, which I would never have known that in that moment. So it's fine, because it still was like a great experience, a great short. But sometimes when people are like, oh, can I see the proof of concept for the feature? And I'm like, I wouldn't call it a proof of concept because it's not the exact. So, I mean, what is helpful is that I'm the lead in it. And so it at least shows that like I'm capable of doing this genre, since my first feature is such a different tone and different character. And so it at least shows that off. And obviously the fact that like I was capable of something and like it got good reviews and everything like that. But when I've had to send it to people when they ask like that, I'm like, it's not, the feature is going to look better. Like it's going to be shot on film. It's going to have like an actual, like a much more, intentional, specific look to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's so smart that you went into it like that.
I attended a film forum for Film Independent, if you know what that is.
Oh yeah.
And,
I almost went to that.
It was great. Oh,
yeah.
Maybe we would have met there.
Well, no, because I went to, that's so funny because the first guest I had on went there.
Gotcha.
But I went to the Alliance of Women Directors had a workshop that same weekend and times and everything.
Nice.
But yeah, sorry.
But what's interesting is like it's funny, you don't think things are you don't think things are coming together in a structure, but the universe does line things up for you, because it was right before we started doing this project, and I attended the film forum, which was 4 days of events and talks and stuff. And one of the events was to watch pitches. So 4 big Hollywood producers, like big time people who would make stuff for Apple, for Netflix, for studios. One of the guys was Kevin Hart's producer, who runs Kevin Hart's production company, which makes a lot of films, and all tons of experience. And we watched, it was 6 different sets of filmmaking teams pitch projects live in front of us.
Cool. It
was really interesting, and they all got like 4 or 5 minutes to pitch whatever their film or TV show was. And everything was, all the pitches were good, but they were all different. It was nice to see how they were different, but they all got basically the same feedback. Every producer said, what's the vision of this? Because one team would like focus on what the plot is, and they would spend 5 minutes talking about the plot and the characters. And then another team would focus on what are the themes? What are we trying to say with this movie? And vice versa. But nobody talked about what is it? Like we know the producers were like, okay, we get the story.
Yeah.
We get the characters, but what does this look like? What is the vision for this? And that's stuck in the back of my head. Like they liked all the stories, but they couldn't say yes to any of them. And they would have said yes if they wanted to. It was like a real live pitch.
Oh, wow.
But they all passed because they all just work on the vision and be able to translate and show us what is the vision for your story so that I could have a better idea of like what I would potentially invest in.
Yeah.
And so that stuck in my head. And so when we were talking about this, I was like, let's just spend the money and put the vision on screen the best we can on this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Did you learn anything from doing that you're taking into the future?
Oh, I think absolutely. It was the most we'd ever worked with monster effects before.
Yeah.
And a lot of blood. We worked with squibs and blood on our last short. But in terms of like working with a monster team.
Yeah.
And a visual effects artist and understanding.
Yeah, I just had a prosthetics and makeup design people.
It's a whole process in terms of like what they need on set, how much time they need on set, the specific things they need. If they need a microwave, if they need cold towels, if they need a specific amount of water, access to ventilation. So like you learn so much more about this one department that you've never put in a film before.
Did you learn that on set, or they gave you a heads up
ahead
of what
time,
they needed?
Yeah, they give you a list of things they need on set. But then every set's different, and you know, we were pretty low budget, and this was more of a house than like we didn't have everything they needed. So they worked towards our budget and what our accessibility was to whatever they needed.
And on top of that, so my DP and I designed a lot of pretty intricate dynamic shots. It required what we would have liked to have a really big piece of tech, but we ended up going with a jib crane, which was basically this jib, which is a big arm that can extend and go up and down and tilt and pan. And then he attached a DJI Ronin to the head of that. So we were able to make this really great like dynamic camera movements. But what I learned doing that is, and the shots look great, I'm very happy with them, but it takes time to set those shots up. And it takes time to get those cameras.
That was a big learning lesson.
Like to be like, okay, the shot's awesome, but it's going to take an hour for them to set the camera, to balance the DJI, to work on how the camera moves and time it with the actor. That was something where I had a feeling I was like, okay, it will take a little bit of time, but it definitely took longer than I wanted it to. But there's really nothing you can do because the tech team, the camera departments, we had a great camera team. I also learned to have a big camera team, especially for stuff like that, because our DP had 5 people with him at all times, and they just were working their tails off. And if he had a crew of 3, it would have been a different story. So, and everything, we stayed on schedule, but there were times where we were just like, okay, we were waiting a while for this shot. It worked great, but I learned like the big pieces of tech do require more time.
Well, now you can go into the future knowing that you need to schedule a little bit longer for those shots, right?
100%. And also not shoot 12 scenes in 2 days.
Well, we learned a lot, but those I think were the 2 biggest lessons I agree with.
Yeah, cool. So what are you doing? Like, what's your day-to-day look like prepping for the feature?
Well, right now we're finishing up the screenplay and then also prepping for our fundraising launch. So we're going to launch a Kickstarter at the end of April, as well as put together the entire package for pitching out to producers and independent financiers. So we're going to be doing that simultaneously. And right now the team's working on that, as well as fine-tuning the script. A new draft just got sent out to everybody yesterday.
So it is done.
It's
going through drafts, going through phases.
Got it. Okay.
It's on a rewrite phase, and it's looking really good. It's just hearing feedback. You need
the story's there. It's just getting all the beats right.
Yeah. Which is like the biggest.
Like the beginning and end
is the story.
Like it's there. It's just like, all right, how can we make it better? How can we improve this character? How can we improve the sequence? Do we need that? Let's try to make it as good as possible.
Who do you go to for your feedback? Do you have trusted people? Or are you finding strangers? Or
our team's great. Everybody's really great with feedback. I've always trusted James, and he's always trusted me, because the brother thing is important, because we don't care about hurting each other's feelings. And
usually script meetings start off with like everyone's like saying all these. I let everyone go first. I let everyone like get their nice things up, and then I'm like, all right, guys, time for bad cop. But I always give the good things. But like,
for sure.
Whenever I give Anthony a script of mine and vice versa, I don't need all the good things. I need the things that need to be fixed or suggested fixes and like what's not working. I think those are the more important things to 100%. Give people credit. I mean, critiques on for writing. So I have no problem being the bad cop.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it. But then once we do that, it's like, okay, now we can all like, because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But Anthony and I have been doing this for a long time. Where it's like,
it's the only way to get it better.
Yeah. It's the only way to get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget exactly how he words it, but like Rick Rubin's The Creative Act was like a huge like guiding thing during the script stage for me. And like he says something though about like not when you let it be like the script, it's not you didn't make it. It's something that like worked through you, like, you know, like your genius that made it or some sort of muse that made it. Then you can be more objective about it. And like it doesn't hurt when someone's like, well, this could be better because, you know, in this part. And it's like, yeah, I agree, you know, or like maybe you don't agree, but still like it's not personal, you know.
The thing is,
it's not an attack to you.
Something that really opened up my eyes was learning about how Stanley Kubrick's process worked, where he would film like for months and months and months after a long over schedule, and Eyes Wide Shut they filmed for almost 2 years straight.
Longest running production ever. Yeah.
Jesus.
And a lot of people say it's just because of its perfectionist quality in terms of the camera and getting the shot right, but it wasn't that. I got the Eyes Wide Shut 4K from Criterion and I watched all the behind the scenes and documentary, and they talked about the process, and Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise in their interviews, they said, I always thought they were just, he was insane about the precision of the camera work and the lighting, and he was. But they shot for so long because every day he would be like, I didn't like the scene, and he would write it again. He would spend that night writing it. Him and Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman would write scenes over and over and over again until he felt that it was right. And it's really the writing that made his productions last so long. Because the thing is, like, if you go with your first version of events, generally that's not going to be good.
Yeah.
So you have to try different scenarios out. With like the structure of a story, like, the structure might be the same, but like this scene. The first version you write down, it can't be the finished version. It has to be molded from there, and you have to try as many ways as you can.
Yeah, I think it's also good to like take some space, like some time away from it too, and then revisit it as well.
So the more takes you get at it, and the more things you try, you will find the path that works best for like this specific sequence or this entire like second act or even just like one scene. Yeah,
that's a really expensive rewrite though to just keep doing it.
Yeah, that's how he shot. Like, there's a great documentary on The Shining, BTS. There's a bunch of them, but there's this great sequence of the Cruise like interviewing Jack at a table, and he's like, "Here's today's script. I should memorize the lines, but there's no goddamn point because they're just gonna change it later tomorrow. There's gonna be another script and then another script after that. So it's like every day. But he's an all-time actor, so he's learning new lines every single day for The Shining.
But Kubrick never went crazy over budget because he worked with a small crew. He preferred to have a tiny crew, literally a handful of people, rather than a big Hollywood film set, because then he could afford the time that he wanted to spend each day doing the scenes.
Yeah.
David Lynch was like that too. That's one of the reasons why he switched to digital. Smaller crew. Like he shot Inland Empire on a HD camcorder, like a Sony little camcorder. The whole movie's shot like that.
Damn.
And so like you save budget, you save time, you can spend more time on story.
Yeah, although I wonder, I'm just curious that he doesn't like get, you know, fulfillment like just listening to the actors read it out loud or anything, like that he's just like, you know, fixing it during production, like instead of doing like table reads or
I mean, every movie's different. I mean, think about Gladiator. Gladiator, they started with a 20-page script and they're figuring out as they went. You know, Ridley's been like that a lot. I think geniuses understand that in the moment, sometimes something's not working, and you work with the actors to figure it out. And if it's not working for the director, you know, that's why he's Stanley Kubrick. You know, because like no one can make The Shining except for him.
Yeah.
Right. That's why.
Yeah. In the Scorsese doc, he was talking about The Aviator. Him and DiCaprio, they were having a lot of trouble with the scene in particular. Have you seen The Aviator? Well, I won't spoil it. Add it to your watch list. But there's a scene where DiCaprio's character is in a moment of crisis, and he's basically locked himself in a room for over a month. And he is communicating with his ex, played by Cate Blanchett, on either side of the door, and they played the scene 20 times, and Scorsese was like, it's just not right. And DiCaprio was like, I don't know what to do. And then they just sat there for a few hours and just were thinking, and then DiCaprio was inspired. He's like, what if I change the tone completely of what the scene even is about? And then they did the scene and they did it in like one take, and Scorsese were like, that was it. So like their initial vision for what that scene was completely flipped.
Yeah.
Because like it's fine on the page and in your vision for it.
For sure.
But on the day, he's the genius where he knows
all the elements, and
because if it doesn't feel right in your gut, you have to listen to that.
Definitely.
Even if you don't know what's wrong, if it doesn't feel right, then it needs to be investigated.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely experienced that on my first feature as well, of like things going a different way. And it's like, okay, well, let's trust that that's where it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
You also have to earn that. You can't just like be making a feature your first time and be like, we're going to go a month over. I'm not sure about this. It's like, you're not Stanley Kubrick. You're not Scorsese.
Right,
you got to earn that right.
Definitely.
To let the studio be like, fine, we'll give you more money.
Yeah. Not going over budget is pretty key.
Yeah.
So do you have dates set then for your feature, or
No, we don't have dates right now. Like
Okay.
Andy said, we're launching the Kickstarter at the end of April. We just have a big marketing campaign for like about 35 days to see how much we can raise, then try to
Nice.
find match investments after that. We'd like to shoot next year, first or second quarter probably, is like looking where it's going to be, because we're probably going to shoot overseas. It's a period piece, 19th century, so need somewhere in the UK or maybe Germany or Austria.
What
where,
took you to that decision?
What's
It's
up?
a Gothic film.
Oh, okay, right.
So it has to be
So, yeah.
Gothic.
So it needs to be okay.
Yeah, and so
Nothing here is Gothic.
Yeah, it depends where you
There's
go.
bits and
In terms
pieces.
of old Gothic,
Yeah.
like that century. So we probably have to go overseas. It's going to cost money, but also we want to avoid the wintertime if we can, and shoot in Q2, March, April, May, when it starts to warm up in the UK, and shoot there. Because I've shot in the UK before, and it's either muddy or frozen ground and bitter cold. So if we can avoid that as
Yeah.
much as possible,
Yeah.
so that's our plan. It takes time to make a movie. A lot of people, like, just because you get a budget doesn't mean you can start shooting in a month.
No, yeah.
You need to get the budget first.
Yeah.
Just do a little pre-production at what you can do. But then once you get the funds, then you start running into pre-production. That takes months to plan a feature. I mean, even a short film takes months to plan.
Definitely. Yeah, my first feature was really fast, but and it needed to be just because of like the actors and COVID and some other stuff. But this next one, I like how long it's been taking, because it feels like everything. I mean, the momentum slowly builds, but like it feels like I've had all that time to like really marinate on things and be much more intentional and let things come together. Also at like a bigger level too is something that when you want to do things on a bigger level, things take time. Like even negotiations with like,
Yeah, and we want to lock in at least 2 notable actors in the
Nice.
next few months as well. So that's definitely
What's
a big
your
objective.
like overall goal, or like what you're kind of looking to get out of doing your first feature?
To do it forever.
To make it.
Yeah.
To do it
forever.
Yeah.
It's just to do it, honestly. Like, I saw this pretty big account on Instagram, and they were like, my dream is to make movies so I can win an Oscar.
I've
And I
met
was
people like that in person,
I was
too,
like,
yeah.
that's the wrong mentality.
Definitely.
You're not doing it for the right. I just want to do it just to do it, because that's what I've always wanted to do, and the
Yeah.
only thing that makes sense to me.
And just to be able to do it for a living.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what happens is outside of that, as long as I just get to be able to do it. That's
100%.
it.
Yeah, I love that. So, I mean, again, going to like your day to day. So you're just like prepping for the Kickstarter, which what is like for like development funds and getting into pre-production.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
the day-to-day right now. It's not very busy. Right, we're still running the podcast and doing.
we have
all
a
that.
team.
Yes, but we
Yeah.
have a whole team of producers working on it,
nice.
and so like
So
once
it's not just you two?
Yeah, it's not just us.
We have
two.
a team of 6 or
nice.
7 producers right now,
Yeah.
and
Oh, wow.
everyone has a different thing
How'd
they're
you find
handling.
them? Or are they just like, are you guys friends and
So
you're all...
I met our producer Zach. I met him at AFI Film Fest, and we talked. He was like, "What are you doing right now?" I was like, "I'm trying to make a horror short."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Can I read the script?" I sent him the script, and the next day he's like, "Can I jump on board this?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, love to have you on board." And
Yeah.
then he knew a bunch of people. Like he knew, like it's just like you find one person who has like he's a good connections guy.
Yeah.
And he connected us with a great group of people who are all, they've worked together in commercial work that they've all done. And so in a way he put some of his team into this, and then we also knew a couple other people on our own
Cool.
that we brought into it. So it was a bunch of new people that James and I had never met.
Yeah.
And then we've been doing it for almost 3 months, maybe 4 months now.
A lot of meetings.
Yeah, a lot of Zooms.
a lot of
But
Zooms. You
everyone's-
get to know people and
Yeah.
their face.
Yeah.
But everyone's really nice, and everyone's really highly motivated individuals, and everybody's grinders and
Young and hungry. Everyone's young and hungry.
It's a really
Love
group
that,
of
yeah.
young people, good group of young people who all want to get things things done and make movies. And James and I have had nothing but just really good experiences working with them all.
Yeah. I find like I'm always just interested how people find their go-to people or their collaborators, because it is like a big trust.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't work as well as you think you would with people. Like, with friends, sometimes it doesn't always, like, you might be really good friends, but then like it doesn't go as well on set.
Yeah,
or
I
you
agree.
just like work differently.
Friendships come and go in production. That's what I've learned. But also, you got to take chances, and you're still learning and meeting and understanding who these people are, and still, growing as friends as well as colleagues. So it's a process.
Yeah. We try to like hang out every once in a while. We like just try to like, hey, we got Korean food one night.
Yeah, the vibes on set though for the sizzle were great.
I love
Everyone
it.
had a great time. We worked real hard. Obviously issues always come up. There's always a problem. Movie making is literally just problem solving, and so we all work together to figure things out.
But it helps to take the burden off of us.
Yeah, that's
like
great.
for example, we have a great line producer named Clara, and she's so good with logistics and all the spreadsheets and all that. And she's on top of that. But like, and that's stuff that like
I don't know how to make a spreadsheet.
Came around my
I open up Excel. I'm like, what is this?
And like Clara just handles all that stuff. And it just takes James and I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
And she does a better job than he and I can do together. You know what I mean?
I love
She's
that you
great.
guys are already delegating, because I didn't do that well though, my first feature. And I mean, it's not so much, I don't think it's a control thing. It's just, it is a lot of trust to give to someone when you care about something. And so that's something that I've taken from my first feature to my second, is just delegating better.
It's the only way you can learn how to delegate is to mess it up and try to be a control freak at first. We've all been there, but then you don't want to work that hard, and it's better for the production not to.
Well, exactly. And also people, I mean, most of the time when you find the right people, they elevate.
Yeah.
They do better than what you could have done alone.
Yeah.
And
Everyone has strengths.
Yeah, and it's better making movies with people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I personally really enjoy collaborating with everybody on this team. Everybody's great.
Yeah.
When I direct, I don't want to do everything myself.
No
It's
way.
exhausting. It's terrible.
It's impossible.
Yeah. Well, and one of the directors I just had on too was talking about, because that was something that he did as well, is getting better at delegating. And as a director and like writer, it's just when you can focus more on like the relationships with the actors and your vision, instead of like the day-to-day things, or like what you're ordering for lunch.
You gotta let the AD. Gotta let the AD run the set.
Yeah.
You gotta let your team do their thing. You can't. You just gotta relinquish control. And that's the best advice for any director.
Especially before we did the sizzle, since there were so many people with their own jobs and handling a lot of the pre-production, I was able to spend a lot of time with our cinematographer just talking over the shots and what the visual language would be. And that he was so prepared. When we got to set, it was just a very seamless shooting experience with him, because he and I spent so much time working out the storyboards, working out the shot list.
Yeah.
And we were just completely on the same page. And it was just like smooth sailing with Griffin. He was amazing.
Did you work with him before?
No, never.
What decided you make you choose a new DP for this?
We had a great phone call that ended up because the thing was, I've had bad meetings with cinematographers and I've had good meetings. And it's important to share the same taste in filmmaking, and also share the same. It's a vibe check too.
Definitely.
And in our first phone call together, he and I just chatted movies for like 35 minutes straight.
I love that.
And we didn't even talk about the short. We were just like talking about what we liked. And he likes a lot of the same things I like, and doesn't like a lot of things, the same things that I don't like. And James is too, like a lot of contemporary cinematography techniques that James and I kind of like get irked by.
Do you guys agree about everything, or
Mostly.
Yeah, really.
We just
when it comes to film,
we both know what's good.
Yeah,
and then Griffin had the same exact taste and opinions, and I told him what I wanted to do, and he was all aboard. And it was really just like, because you have to be able to trust them. His work is great. He knows what he's doing. He has a lot of experience, but you also have to just like, if you commit to this person, you're gonna work with them for a long time.
Yeah.
Especially if the future works out.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to enjoy their company, enjoy disagreements, because you're gonna disagree about shots or things, and to be able to disagree and contrast with each other and have conflicting ideas, and still enjoy that process. So it's very important to be able to enjoy who you're working with, and I just love hanging out with Griffin and talking to Griffin. So that was definitely a big thing for me.
Yeah. A lot of these lessons, are they coming from, what you've learned over the years with the podcast, or, you said you worked in production, or where are you getting?
It's the latter. The podcast is so self-sufficient with just Anthony and I running everything that we don't really interact with anyone on a production level unless we're like at a junket or doing this, I guess, technically. But when it comes to that, it's a whole different world. It's really just by doing.
Yeah.
And then getting out there and trying to find a team and building the team. Building the team, that's not the hard part, but it's finding people that you'll work with well, that you'll gel with. Someone that's, the thing with Griffin and DPs I've worked with in the past is I'll work with people, it's best to work with people that are willing to commit to the project, that like see the vision, versus there's nothing wrong with taking a job just because it's a job. A lot of people do that. Hey, it's going to pay my bills for the next 2 weeks. I'll work on this shoot. But are they as invested in the story? Maybe the script's not great. Maybe they're not super enthused by it, but they got to take the job. Yeah. It's better to find someone that's, willing to take the job, even sometimes at a lower rate because they invested themselves into it. They're so into the project. Those are the people you want to work with most.
Do you feel like a lot of your audience is giving you the ability to make a feature?
Oh, it's 100% because of them.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's all because of them.
We've done fundraising campaigns in the past to great success thanks to them.
Oh, nice.
So, absolutely. They're instrumental.
For your shorts?
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, are you thinking about that too, or is that like something that you have with your pitch in terms of like
it's
being
very
able
planned
to...
and coordinated, so when it happens, it'll happen. So we're strategizing a lot about what we're going to do when we launch the campaign. We already have social media accounts for Dare Sandman, and so it's just prepping all of that. So by the end of April, it will launch.
Or I mean, like with the film itself, like in terms of your pitch to when you're starting to take out the project for bigger investors, is that something that you're using, is that you do have this like kind
the
of
leverage?
I mean, that is a big leverage because
Yeah,
think about it, like so many of the things these days is about like, well, does this person have an audience? And you guys do. You have a big audience.
Top
and you have,
5
like,
on Spotify, film and TV. No big deal.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, brag
100%.
about it. That's a big
the
achievement.
main marketing point that we have. That's our main leverage point.
No, I love that.
And that's
It's
the future of filmmakers. A lot of, Kane Parsons.
Kane Parsons.
Kane, the back rooms.
Because he was a YouTuber, right? Or
and
he was making
Obsession
videos?
with Kari Barker. Chris Duckman.
I didn't know he was a YouTuber.
He's a YouTuber, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Kari Barker has been making like horror shorts on his YouTube for a while. And he made
sketches.
And
Well, because I've been seeing Obsession all the festival route.
He made a horror slasher film that he put on his YouTube channel. Like a few years ago. So he's been doing his YouTube for a while.
Or like have you heard of Wesley Wang?
No.
Okay, he's a friend of mine. He's actually going to be on the podcast in a couple weeks, but he made a short that he ended up putting on YouTube and it went viral, like 10 million views. And Darren Aronofsky there was a bidding war. Darren won, and TriStar is producing his feature adaptation.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah, which I mean, he's not like a YouTuber per se. He's a filmmaker.
He put it on YouTube.
But, like because it went viral on YouTube. And I mean, to be fair, it was also very well done, and like everyone resonated with it and loved it. So it wasn't just like a random YouTube video; it was very well done. But yeah, that was all because a viral YouTube video.
That's what we hope happens with the sizzle.
Yeah,
when we put it on.
I mean, I didn't really think too much about that when making this. I mostly was just like, I want to talk about films, and like I don't know, I just kind of felt like this inner calling that was like telling me to do this. Like
do the podcast.
Yeah, I marinated on it for like almost a whole year before I pulled the trigger. I don't know why.
So did we. I mean,
really?
we did like a test podcast. So we started in 2020, June. 2019, I think I was like playing around with. I kind of had a non-topical podcast. And
he was doing great comedy stuff.
Yeah,
James okay, cool.
That's how we saw the potential. Like I got all these followers doing stupid sketch videos, and I'm like,
they're not stupid. They were funny.
Some of them were stupid. Some of them were. That's how.
Sometimes I would help film him, and sometimes I had no idea what was even happening. They'd just be like, "Can you film something for me?"
So it's sort of, what was I saying right before that?
Marinating on the podcast.
Yeah. So then in 2019, we were like floating the idea of doing a movie podcast because there were some out there. This is right before a big podcast boom. Went from, there's like 250, 500,000 podcasts to then after COVID, there was like 3 million, 4 million. It was surged. And so we did a test run of a podcast on my iPhone. I found the audio on my phone.
Did we do that in the back house?
We did it in the back guest house, like with the lights off. It was like the middle of winter in LA. It's 50 degrees in winter, and we did like an hour recording, and nothing came to it, and we never did anything with it. And then a year later, it's like you talk about your friends, like, hey, we should go to Tahiti.
Yeah,
we should build a deck.
Yeah.
You never do it.
Yeah,
and then we saw. I was like, Anthony and I were finally in the stages of like I'm like, I don't want to do the sketch stuff anymore, but there's potential, there's marketing here. And so it was like the plan, like, let's start a podcast and we'll use social media, TikTok, Instagram to market it.
Yeah.
And so that was the plan.
Nice.
And then it took off by 2021.
Yeah. That's funny you say you did that, because I also, like, literally a whole year ago, had did like a test podcast on my phone, and I watched it back and I was like,
we weren't good when we started. I'll tell you that. It was us with curtains behind us.
I can't believe people listen.
We're just sitting in wooden chairs, just like, yeah, man. So like,
monotonous.
Taxi Driver's a really good movie. Great.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. Well, I think also because I was in the script stage at that point, and I knew I wanted to, like, because I was doing this a little bit with my first feature where I was documenting the making of it, like just on like my close friends story or like some of the stuff on my full friends, and I loved it so much because it felt like you were making a film with a community and like your people, you know, and like it's just fun to, like, I think grow, like have it grow alongside people. And so I wanted to do that on a bigger level. But once I was in the script stage, I was like, this is too precious. I can't talk about it right now. Like, I feel like that'll mess up and like it won't be the right mindset. And then I think there was also just like some random, like, I don't know, like even though I'm an actor, it's different being a character than it is being myself. So there was like some fears I think I had to get over. And yeah, eventually just there was so many things that came up in terms of opportunities that I was like, I'm the last thing in my way. But yeah, I also just love talking about films and filmmaking so much that I was like, I finally have to do this. And it's been the best. But also, like, fun. Now talking to investors, I am also able to be like, oh, yeah, also there's this whole audience that's building that is, you know, following this journey of the next film.
New media's taken a while to get reputability, especially social media, YouTube, podcasts. Podcasts took years for people to take you seriously as a podcaster. The amount of times I would not tell someone I was a podcaster because people always like you record like what in your house
or on TikTok.
So like you didn't want to tell anyone you were a podcaster, but now, you know, when people see, oh, you've built a business, we built a production company, we pay our bills with this is how we make our living. It's like, oh, now people respect it. It takes a while for people to understand. Studios are starting to understand that too. You know, TikTok went from people thinking it's just a dancing app, and now we're at junkets. We're on red carpets.
Well, I was going to say, like, you guys are, like, doing shit on, like, a big level. Like, you just got to do the Audible interview.
Yeah. With Project Hail Mary, the directors and writers. Yeah. And so, like, we wouldn't be getting those jobs if, like, the podcast,
like you're in the rooms with the people. Like, that's
TikTok,
incredible.
Instagram
getting to talk to people. Like, I mean, that's all. Like, I want to be able to talk to those people about films.
You get to learn from them, too.
Yeah.
And even sometimes you only get a few minutes, but when you get to have a little bit more time, it's definitely a learning experience.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah. Okay, wait, where was I going with? I got off track of the feature.
Talking about movies and stuff.
Oh,
Taxi Driver.
Well, I do, yes. Travis Bickle. Well, because I have an anti-hero, and so Travis Bickle's kind of like a...
And your film reminded me of Teeth.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, which...
Could have been a good movie.
I say yes every time someone says that. And of course, like, it's the same thing, like Vagina Dentata, but I actually think it's very different. I mean... the tone is just like completely different, but also I have like a whole page in my deck referring to this because everyone brings up Teeth when they hear the premise.
That was a movie that like it could have been so good.
Yeah, well, and that's honestly, I also have another page, like it's just a double page, but of like all the Letterboxd reviewers that say like this would have been better if it was like made by a woman, or like, you know, I hate that they like showed this, or like I can't wait for the female remake in a few years. And so but like a huge thing is that like the character in that film I don't think is empowering. Like, she's afraid of her sexuality, she's afraid of her own body, like she was born with the thing, and spends the majority of the film like that. And then in our film, because it's actually adapted from a short story as well, and I wrote the script with the original author, and our character chooses to have it and like is empowered by it.
That's awesome. Yeah. Because in that film she just discovers it. And the problem with one of the biggest mistakes a person can make with writing a story is making your things happen to your character.
Yes.
I just watched a film recently, and everything it was a good movie, but everything happened to them. Even into the third act. Like, they weren't actually making a single decision. It's just like, this happens to them, now this happens to them, now this happens to them. And it like the character falls into like this victimhood of a narrative, and it's just like your character needs to do something. Yes. So that's so much 100%. Better. That
do you ever listen to the Screenwriting Life podcast? No. I love that podcast, but they always talk about that as well, of like your character needs to be doing something instead of reacting constantly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she like, it empowers her, it makes her feel even like it brings her into her sexuality, but then she gets, you know, fueled by it, almost like a Walter White type of vibe, and, you know, has a downfall of being hungry for the power.
I like it.
Yeah. If you're enjoying the next film and want to help us keep making the show, we're now accepting tax-deductible donations through our partner, the Alliance of Women Directors. This helps us keep sharing honest conversation, insights, and practical tools free and accessible to artists. The link is in the show notes, or you can visit allianceofwomendirectors.org/fiscal-sponsorship. Is there like a mindset shift you feel like you're moving into from creators, podcasters to filmmakers?
Sure, it's trying to balance both. You know, it's not about like trying to put the podcast in the rearview mirror because we're so grateful for it, but it's trying to build them together and always have the podcast to improve as well. You know, filmmaking is the life goal, but now we have this really cool show and this brand that can coexist with it. And it's about finding that balance, getting in the right headspace. Like, all right, I have to do this for a couple hours, but then I can do this or this. And so it's like the podcast, we never want to lose sight of how important that is. And it got us to where we are right now. But it can only get better if we get into bigger filmmaking. And then we can get bigger opportunities for the show.
Each other.
Exactly. So then we can get, once we get reputability in the film world, it's like, oh, we can get a director on our show, like no problem. Versus like, it's kind of hard to go through the PR teams and try to get approval for more than like a 20-minute interview here and there. But like, I think it's the mindset of just trying to make them both coexist together is the goal.
Yeah. And I mean, it also sounds like the podcast is complementing the filmmaking.
Exactly.
Just like, from how you talk about.
And the thing with this project is, it's been gaining a lot of momentum very quickly. And it puts you into this really focused mindset because it's like it's hard to get things off the ground. It's hard to get things rolling, but it's like every month, like it just keeps building and building, and it's been pretty fast. And for me, it's just gotten me very focused and just like let's fucking go. Let's fucking do this. Let's do it.
Yeah. No, I think it's really important to build your own momentum and find ways to build momentum.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of things in your control, in your power that you can do. You don't have to like wait around for XYZ. Like there's things to create the momentum. At least that's how I find my journeys work.
Yeah, and that's why we're looking at like Q2 2027 to shoots, because like we want it, it's moving fast, but we want to not like rush too fast.
For sure.
Take our time, build it correctly so that because this is a big opportunity.
Yeah.
And once we get the funding, like, okay, let's do it right. It's moving quickly, but then let's make sure we build the foundation correctly.
Yeah. Are there like lessons that you're taking away from your short films that are lending into this? Like all these decisions?
Always.
Yeah,
I mean, every single day.
Yeah, delegation, what we were talking about earlier, is a
That's
huge
you
one.
learned from your
But like
shorts?
we've been implementing that for sure.
Yeah, logistics, scheduling is so important.
Being prepared.
And then, but also, I think learning to enjoy the experience as much as you can while you're in it.
Yes.
Because you spend so much time pre-production than in post that the real fun stuff is on set. You know, I love being on set so much. Even on a bad day, it's the best time.
Same.
So it's like trying to understand, like, you know, this project's gonna wrap pretty soon. Just try to enjoy being in the moment. Being aware that you're in a special spot right now, even if shit's hitting the fan. To try to take in the experience as well.
And it's always like you only get one first feature. Like you need to enjoy it. Like I was living with one of my friends in New York when I was making my first feature, and we were like 3 weeks out from production, and she came out to the living room and I was bawling my eyes out. She was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "It's almost over." She's like, "You haven't even shot yet." And I'm like, "But I can feel it. Like it's almost over." And like I just really like knew that this, I don't know, I think again, like with Linklater, I watched Dazed and Confused. I'm not exaggerating, every single day for a month leading into production because that was a big inspiration film. And then I was constantly watching like the behind the scenes stock and interviews with Linklater on it and stuff like that, because there was something about the making of that film that felt very like real with my journey. And it was all these like young unknown people, right? And he was
Ben Affleck's in that movie,
which I actually did not recognize him when I first, like I didn't realize it was him. And I only saw Dazed and Confused I think for the first time like just a couple years before that. And like even though it was Linklater's second film, or third if you count the one he did on his own, but it was like his first big film. And yeah, there was just something about like them getting to make a movie as kids essentially, and like no one really knowing who they are. That just really, I don't know. And then they all became friends on set, and and that movie didn't even do well at first. Like when it hit the box office, it eventually like grew its audience over time. But I think there's just like something really special about like really feeling, you know, every single moment of being on set.
I love it, and it's important to enjoy it. because it's a great experience.
Well, also, like, why else are you doing it if you're not enjoying the process?
I have so much fun. It flies by so fast the day on set, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's already over. But I love every second of it. I really enjoy it, and it's important. Like, even though it's tough and it's a lot of work, and you're on your feet, and it's like 14-hour day, and we did night shoots, so we finished late.
Oh wow!
But still, just like I told the crew in our meetings, like, we're making a movie. It's fun. You know, it's a movie.
Yeah, no,
and at the end of the day,
it's fun.
Like, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
it's just try to enjoy the experience.
100%.
Being able to laugh in between setups and just have fun.
Yeah,
good time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to my last question. I'll ask both of you. Since I said your name first, I'll let you answer first. What advice would you give to someone making their next film?
Write and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. Just write as much as you can. Even if you don't want to be a writer, you can learn a lot about storytelling just from trial and error of writing and building out stories, for sure.
Where did you? Sorry, not to interrupt your. I'll rephrase the question
give me
for
a follow-up
you.
too. It's cool.
Yeah. So where did you kind of like learn your craft for writing?
I took screenwriting courses at Emerson College and New York. I took a conservatory at New York Film Academy, but you learn the basics there in like the structure of a screenplay and the weird format of a screenplay. But really, it's just the only way to get good at writing is to write on your own and find your voice, and not like a lot of people like, oh, I want to write like a Tarantino movie, or I want to write like a PTA movie. You should just really focus on what's your voice. What do you like? What do you want to see on screen? And if you're passionate about what you're writing about, then it'll come. And if you enjoy the writing process, then that's a good sign. If you're writing and you can't get past page 2, try something else. Write a different scene or change gears. If it starts coming easy to you, then you're in a good place.
Yeah. When did you feel like you found your voice? Or, I mean, I'm sure it's still like a journey.
Last year.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Last year.
With this script specifically?
No, with a different script.
Okay.
Like, so a lot of things clicked in. I feel like with this, I wrote a script about NCAA swimmers, and I really enjoyed the process and a lot of screenwriting structure. But it was like I stopped focusing on the structure and more focus more on like just writing well, like good prose, and making the reading of it a good read for people who might read the screenplay.
Nice.
And so with that script, and again, that was like the 12th script I wrote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of trash.
No, I mean, yeah, you
that.
definitely like you have to go through the fire to like find your voice. I mean, when I went to an acting conservatory in New York, but we had film history and filmmaking, which was like so crucial. So every week we had such a small class. There was like 15 of us. But every week we had to make a certain film that was based off the film we were watching in film history. And because of that, it was constantly like making things low budget, run and gun with friends. Like, how do we make something out of nothing? Because we were all like broke students. But it was so useful to be like applying what you're learning in film history to, you know, what you're making that week. And then I think through that, we start to find our own voices as well, because we're kind of like, you know, I don't want to say copying, but we're like getting inspired by certain filmmakers and films and generations of like, yeah. And so I think that was just like so crucial, is like without anyone ever seeing except for the people in class, you know, you're not like putting it out there, which can be useful, but you're still getting like your thoughts from your professor and your friends. And I think also just like getting your own opinion on something
when you watch it.
Yeah, like, and it's so different to watch it like in your house than it is to watch with an audience. The first time you watch with an audience is a whole new experience. Like, you see it in a new light. It
sucks.
Yeah.
The worst day ever.
Yeah, the first test screening of my first feature, we had a theater for the test screening.
Give me a bucket of puking.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Afterwards, I was like, I hate myself. I hate life. It's fine. But I'm a very optimistic.
That's how you're supposed to feel.
Yeah, I was like, I'm a very optimistic, happy person. But that night, I just wanted ice cream and to potentially die.
So, I mean, we saw Project Hail Mary like 3 weeks early, a while ago, and then we got to interview the directors a couple of times, and we were like, oh, we were at the TCL screening a couple of weeks ago. They're like, oh man, I couldn't sit for more than 20 minutes. It's like they left Project Hail Mary and they couldn't sit through it. You know what I mean?
God.
Because it's like the neuroticism of being a director. It's tough.
Yeah. Okay, James. I had to question myself for a second to make sure
you're good.
Right. What advice would you give to someone making their next film?
Don't be afraid to fail. don't be afraid to take chances and risks. You're not going to get great at something unless you fail. So don't be afraid of trying to figure out what kind of director or writer you are. Don't try to be the director you think you should be or you want to be. I think it's like what Anthony was talking about, finding your voice. Like, find out what your voice is. Don't be afraid of, I need $500,000 to make this movie. You can make a movie for $5,000
or less.
Robert Rodriguez made El Mariachi for $7,000. Used a wheelchair as a dolly. I mean, there are ways to do things. You don't need a huge budget, so just take the risks. Don't think that you have to write the perfect script or the perfect scene. Like Anthony said, just write. Put the phone away. Turn it off.
Put the phone away.
Turn the phone off. Put it away for a couple hours every day. But don't be focused on like this dialogue has to be perfect. It's not ready to shoot. It's like just keep writing and writing and writing until it's ready to shoot. And when you shoot it, like we said, just redo it if it doesn't work.
Yeah, don't be precious with it. Yeah,
don't be precious with it, and don't be afraid.
You guys are really good at looking to the camera. Like I'm learning in real time about podcasting.
It doesn't seem like this is your ninth episode.
Stages. No, yeah, we went through stages of like,
good.
We shouldn't swear, we shouldn't be like this, we should be more like this. But now it's like, let's just be ourselves on camera.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure. I am excited to see and watch your journey.
Oh, thanks.
Best of luck with your Kickstarter campaign and the end of this month. You said, right?
Yeah, and you said you're donating $20K.
I think you said $20. Yeah, 20. You can write me down for 20.
We can have like a great set visit if you want to do.
For $20K. Damn, you guys are good. All right, well, thank you. I will see you on the gram.
Thanks.
Thanks so much for watching. Yeah, you guys want to say you
Raiders of the Lost podcast, very easy to find everywhere.
You're even like synced up.
The womb synced up like a Wi-Fi signal. Now we're good. Thanks.
All right, thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, it's fun.
That flew by. It was easy.
It did fly by. I know when I looked at